My Google Home is playing Achy Breaky Heart in the other room. Hold on. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. It is March Badness coming here up to the very end of the month, so we will definitely be rolling into April with this, but this is round 2 of our tournament of the worst songs of all time, the Sweet 16, if you will. If you didn't see the first episode, go check it out. We decided between 16 matchups, we narrowed it down for you. Between the songs in one-on-one matchups. Any song that got 2 votes for being the worst moved on. Leaves us with 16 now, and we opened up round 2 to audience participation voting. So now from this round on, the audience vote will count for 2 points, meaning that the 3 of us would have to unanimously disagree with the audience in order to push a song through. So we've got 8 matchups today, some very terrible songs to talk about, and let's get to it. Round 1 from our Songs of the Year region. All of these tracks coming from our Songs of the Year series and our selections for the worst top 40 song of their given years. We have Ahab the Arab by Ray Stevens up against Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus. All right, so the audience has selected Ahab the Arab by Ray Stevens as the worst song. So all 3 of us would have to consider Achy Breaky Heart worse in order for it to move on.
First of all, I believe it is Ahab the Arab for the point of the song. And the point of the song is to just marginalize an entire group of human beings for no reason whatsoever. The point of Achy Breaky Heart is to, I guess, turn on women south of the Mendoza line, or the Mason-Dixon line, south of the Mason-Dixon line, and to make money. So I know how I'm voting. What about you, Joe?
Well, on the one hand, you have just racism just coming at you in every verse, every chorus, just pure racism. And as much as I hate Achy Breaky Heart, it's hard to look past all the racism. The one thing you got to say about Billy Ray and Achy Breaky Heart is, though, it is like, and was ubiquitous, just everywhere. Like Ahab the Arab, you'll never hear again outside of the context of this particular show. So it's it's 6, 1/2 dozen of the other, whatever. But I know how I'm voting. Jason?
Yeah, this one's pretty clear, I think. From the sound of it, I think we're all leaning in the same direction, and I don't think we have any dissenting votes on this one. We're all going with the audience. Ray Stevens, moving on to the Elite 8.
Racism wins this round.
Wins again.
I'm starting to really, really like Miley Cyrus, so I got to give him credit for that.
All right, round 2, same region, Songs of the Year. And we have Ebony and Ivory by Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder up against 7 Little Girls Sitting in the Back Seat by Paul Evans. The audience has gone with 7 Little Girls as being the worst track. We with them or against them?
Look, there's an ongoing idea, which is untrue and blown out of proportion, that I dislike Paul McCartney. I find him overrated and I'm sick of hearing about him. Those are the main 2 things. Obviously, I like some of his stuff. This song is absolute trash in almost every way possible. However, even when listening to it, I don't have the urge to call the cops on Stevie Wonder or Paul McCartney the way I do Paul Evans when I listen to his excitement for having little girls in his back seat with the potential of getting them in the front seat and doing God knows what to them. So I know, it's a terrible song about trying to heal racial inequality versus a terrible song that's pro yuck. Joe.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta at least give it to Stevie and Paulie there for at least trying to heal the scars of racism. Certainly the anti-Ahab, the Arab song. So, it's pretty obvious here. If you listen to Seven Little Girls Sitting in the Back Seat, and you just know how weird and creepy that song is, so it's an easy choice for me.
This one I think is a lot closer than the last round, the last matchup we have. I think they are both almost equally bad, but I'm gonna go with Paul Evans on this one as being worse.
Good job, audience. Well done.
All right, moving on to the next region. We have Rice and Curry by Dr. Bombay up against Red Dress by Sarah Brand. The audience has decided that Dr. Bombay with Rice and Curry should be moving on. Let's see how you guys feel.
This one is tough for me. Because if the lyrics to the Bombay song were a little different, it would at least be a stupid, annoying, like gimmicky, disco remix hit or whatever the hell it sounds like a house club song or whatever. Red Dress sounds bad on purpose, it seems like, singing out of key, just really odd and ugly in its composition. But there's like an academic experiment behind that. I do really like Rice and Curry. I also really like Red Dresses. It's just going to come down to the wire for me. Go ahead, Joe.
This might shock you, but there's something about Red Dress that I like. And it's like so weird when you're listening to it, because it's almost like your mind like changes it a little bit to like the right key. Because like I'm hearing it, I'm like, this is actually like kind of catchy. I know it's like out of tune, but like there's parts in it that make me think like this is a good song, just like someone recorded it wrong or something like that. So I don't know, like I don't hate it. It's weird. This is weird. It's doing for me what Sonic Youth never could, and making me like the dissonance. With Rice and Curry, it's just another like really racist song, and I feel like we have a bunch of these in this tournament. So I'm gonna say the racism again wins out for the badness.
All right, yeah, I think I'm definitely not with Joe in liking Red Dress. I think it is very bad, very hard to listen to, and don't like it at all. But once again, outdone by some just blatant racism. So got to push that one through. Dr. Bombay moving on. All right, next up in this region, the Patreon selections. We've got Ooh by Jimmy Fallon and Will I Am up against Telephone Man by Mary Wilson. And this was a blowout. This was the biggest blowout of round two as far as the audience is concerned. A resounding 88% for Jimmy Fallon with Ooh.
I feel Ooh for both of these songs. Telephone Man is an all-time just terrible vocal performance by someone that should be better. Jimmy Fallon's entire persona is able to get whittled down into this song for me. Like, he wants attention. He wants to be cute and charming. His jokes are funny to him and no one else. It's atrociously obnoxious. And you can take it for maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and then it's just way too much. And Will I Am adds nothing to it. It sounds bad. It's not fun. It's not even like clever or smart enough to like make fun of like the ooh like Valley Girl kind of character or whatever that other comedians have done and do much better. I love when Nick Kroll does it on the Big Mouth show with that character. They did it in SNL with the Gap Girls with David Spade and Adam Sandler and all that. Everyone does it better than Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, so I'm not even gonna hide my vote here. It's Jimmy Fallon moves on. It's just terrible.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the audience for voting the way they did. I feel like this one can go all the way because it is just so bad. Every single line is a just cliche of the highest order. It's like they did absolutely no thinking about the words, the lyrics, just like, what's the most obvious joke we can make about literally every single thing we're going to talk about? It infuriates me to listen to it, it drives me more crazy than Rice and Curry. I hate it more than Ahab the Arab. Like, there's just something about it. And it's so long, like there's so many verses. Like, it's just so bad. It's one of the worst things I've ever heard. And if I have any say, it'll go all the way.
Well, Cram said that will.i.am added nothing. And I think will.i.am actually makes the song 1,000 times worse. His contribution is unbelievably awful to me. So yeah, that's the one. Moving on. All right, moving on to the next region. We've got the songs that we pulled from online lists of the worst songs ever. This next one is kind of a doozy. Hey Soul Sister by Train up against Photograph by Nickelback. This one was a lot closer than the matchup, only a 55-45 split. But the audience has decided that the Train song, Hey Soul Sister, is the worst of the two. Either of you voting Nickelback?
This is an very interesting matchup because you can still hear both of these songs on the radio. And, to casual listeners or viewers, most people know these two songs. They're both really bad. They're both just really, really, really damn bad. They're real bad songs. And these are kind of in a different ballpark than these like more novelty songs that we've been talking about so far. These are like well-trained, conditioned professional musicians making a lot of money doing what they do. So in one way, you have to give them credit because they're pros and they know what they're doing, but also like they're pros and they know what they're doing. So the lyrics for Hey Soul Sister don't really cut it. And, you can't really fault the consumer too much for buying it, but Hey Soul Sister is so bad to me. This is my horse in this entire race. I hate this song so much. It is just so pandering to just like soccer moms, like white soccer moms across America. Hey Soul Sister, who's that Mista on the radio? These lyrics are just vomit inducing. And no, I think it just bothers me that people can listen to it and be like, I do kind of like that song. I don't, so that's my winner. Photograph's terrible, but it's got to be Hey Soul Sister moving on for me.
Yeah, for me, and I agree with Cramser, Hey Soul Sister is worse. And it's worse because Photograph's almost generic in its, easy mining of like small town cliches and like when you were younger. Like the lyrics are bad. They're not like offensively, like how did you even come up with that bad? Like Hey Soul Sisters. Just every single line, he's trying so hard to like be different or something, but like the way you can cut a rug, washing is the only drug I need, so gangsta, I'm so thug, like none of those have any connection at all. It's just words. Like it's mind-boggling how bad the lyrics are for Hey Soul Sister. So that's definitely going to win out over the lazy cliches of Photograph for me.
It's like kind of supposed to be a love song a little bit, but you have no idea what he's actually like. Is he taking this relationship seriously? Because he calls the relationship like a game show love connection or something. It's like, so is this endearing? Like, it's so hard to figure out what he's communicating here.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I really hate Photograph. I think it's just the worst, but actually not the worst because Hey Soul Sister is worse. And I think the lyrics are terrible, but I think actually the worst part is the way he sings, hey, hey. It's so annoying and so bad. As soon as he starts with that, it's just like I'm out. And so yeah, that's it. All right. Next up, we've got the Battle of the Real Americans. We got Toby Keith, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, up against Kid Rock with All Summer Long. The audience has selected, with about 67% of the vote, Toby Keith as being worse. But how do you guys feel?
I feel this one's pretty easy. At least the Kid Rock one, you've got two classics kind of anchoring it, even though I'm not a huge Skynyrd fan. And there's nothing wrong with a song that's patriotic or paying homage to the soldiers or those who have sacrificed or anything like that. If you do it with like a true heart and some tact and some nuance, but just like this version of this just tacky and overly wrought American patriotism and just blind faith following and intimidation factor, jingoistic, as you guys said in the other episode, it's way too much. And by the end of it, you lose all of the things that you should be handling delicately, like death and loss and tragedy. And instead it's just now it's an amp up song, and it's we're the best, and it's taking pride for all the wrong reasons and not doing it appropriately. And I think Toby Keith has a terrible voice and is a terrible singer, and it does all the stupid country music things that I hate about country music, and which I hate him for. So that's what I'm going with. Toby Keith. I am the man of the people so far. Actually, we all have been the men of the people men, going with the audience so far all the time. Except maybe Joe, I'm not.
Well, actually, yes, Cramser. Well, it doesn't matter anymore, but I think I dislike the Kid Rock one a little bit more just for its like blatant self-serving stealing of two good songs to make one terrible song. It doesn't sit right with me. Lyrically, Toby Keith has to be worse. It's just one of the lamest country songs, U.S. revenge songs that you could possibly imagine. The mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back. As soon as we could see clearly through our big black eye, man, we lit up your world like the 4th of July. It was just so bad. But All Summer Long just really sucks to me. I hate the instrumentation. It's so weak. Like the guitar tones are so pathetic and puny. The guitar solo is just awful. And it doesn't sit right that he's stealing other good songs to make this song. So I'm voting for Kid Rock here, even though the die has been cast. Toby Keith will move on, but screw Kid Rock.
Jason called this the Battle of the Real Americans, and the Hulk Hogan theme song, there's a good like pro-American song. I am a real American. That's what we want here, baby.
Yeah, this matchup for me was the toughest one, and really the only one in this round where I really had to think about it. And it's a game time decision, but I think I'm actually with Joe. I think Kid Rock is worse. And I think it's the stealing of the songs and using songs, especially the Warren Zevon song, which I love, and just totally wrecking it. But also, I just really hate Kid Rock. Just looking at him, hearing him, just any trace of Kid Rock just is really repelling to me. So, yeah, it's got to be that.
Yeah, so Toby Keith is moving on. It was close for me. This wasn't a slam dunk, but, like Joe was saying, reading some of the lyrics, like if you said Toby Keith has a post 9/11 battle cry pro-Americana song and pick 5 things you bet are in the song and be like, all right, I bet he talks about 4th of July, Statue of Liberty. I bet he says US of A at some point. And they're just all there, no doubt.
All right, next matchup. Moving into the next and final region, we've got songs from albums that were in our tournament last year of the worst albums of all time. We've got our good friends Boston with If You Are in Love up against Bollywood by Liz Phair. Two really atrocious songs. The audience has decided that the Boston song is worse. Do we agree?
Oh, this Boston album just won't go away. Bollywood's bad because of its ideas. Boston's bad because of its execution and lack of ideas. It's just so unbelievably bad. The worst drums, the worst vocals, a guitar part that doesn't match, and a really dark gothic sounding Wurlitzer piano played on the low keys. Nothing about this comes together. It's awful. That's what I got moving on. If You Were in Love, I'm with the people.
I'm going to go against the people again. I do think Bollywood's just worse. And the Boston is bad, but it's, I don't know, it has like its pathetic, like mid 90s, like bar band who wants to hit it big kind of feel to it. So I do feel pity. And Bollywood just sucks. Like it's annoying. It has that really cliched like Bollywood music at the beginning, and it's just packed full of just lame lyrics and really bad singing. Like she's really trying to be like edgy or something on this song, and she just falls so flat on her face. It's embarrassing. It also probably helps that like Boston, I kind of expect this from them because they do just every album got worse and worse and worse. Liz Phair just like fell off like real quick. So it is a bit more of a shock, I think, for Liz Phair to be doing this in 2010. Like she doesn't know better. So I would vote for Bollywood, but it looks like Boston will be moving on.
It's tough because I think Bollywood is a more poorly written song. Like it's a word, like if you just took them on paper, Bollywood's worse. But like Cram said, the execution and the recording of them, I think Bollywood is recorded professionally. Boston is like a song that literally anyone who's played guitar for like a couple weeks and has recording software could do something as good. And this is Boston, and that's the level they've sunk to. Like they sound like it's the first time they've recorded. And to me, that's just unacceptable from a band of their stature. So it's got to be.
Especially because they did an album before this that sounded exactly like this and had all the same mistakes. And they still were like, let's just do it again pretty much on this new album.
I would like to hear another Boston album to see if they continue the downward trend. If they can get worse than this, like, is that even doable? I'm not sure.
That is something I want to see. Like just guitars that aren't even tuned properly and like, cable jacks falling out mid-recording and just plugging it back in instead of stopping take.
All right, one last matchup here in the second round. We've got Bon Jovi with American Reckoning from their 2020 record, Bon Jovi 2020, up against Summer of Love by the Beach Boys. Mike Love taking control in the early 90s, and it did not go well. So the audience has declared Bon Jovi, American Reckoning, the worst of the two. What do you guys think?
Well, Mike Love, this version of the Beach Boys is pretty bad. It's super lame. It's corny as hell. It doesn't sound good. But this Bon Jovi song is like the same thing as Toby Keith, just on the other political aisle. It is just so obnoxiously trite and overblown and takes something very sensitive and just exploits it. And although I don't think he purposely is like trying to do a cash grab here, like we talked about, I think he really thinks he was coming in as a white light in a time when our country really needed, some hand holding and some mending. And John Bon Jovi was like, I got this. And Richie Sambora was too drunk to be like, no, John, don't, please, for the love of God. It's terrible. That's my winner. I got to move it on. It's just so tacky and lame.
I finally got Summer of Love. Mike Love, Summer of Love. finally clicked for me. It's hilarious. That song's bad, but it's not Bon Jovi American Reckoning bad, because few songs are. And I mean, Cramser nailed it. He wants to be Bruce. He wants to conjure up some like great big like monumental piece of songwriting, and it just sucks. It's just bad, poorly written. I mean, America does not need Bon Jovi to do that. Like, there's so many other artists that could have picked up that mantle, and so it's just kind of embarrassing. We've been ripping on this album since 2020 now, so I don't think we can take it much further. But I think a win here in this tournament would be a nice, final nail in the coffin, maybe for Bon Jovi's career, hopefully.
The song is so bad, Joe is hoping for the end of this man's career. I love it.
I think he deserves it at this point. I think he's hurt us enough.
I think I actually prefer the Bon Jovi song. I think Summer of Love is pretty much unlistenable. That deep, like, bass voice that's like, oh yeah, and then it's just so corny. The whole thing is just like, I don't know, like someone's goofy dad just like, let's go to the beach. It's just really, really lame. At least Bon Jovi's trying.
I don't know, man. Come on. It's corny is Jason secretly loves this song. It's like lays in bed with a candle on, listening to Bon Jovi, replaying CNN footage of the protests and from 2020. All right. So the Elite Eight. Closing out the top 40 division is going to be Battle of the Asshole Creepos, really, with Ray Stevens, with Ahab the Arab, versus Paul Evans with 7 Little Girls. Closing out the Patreon picks, or Patreon picks, as Joe likes to say, conference. We got Rice and Curry by Dr. Bombay against Ew by Jimmy Fallon featuring Will I Am. That one at least is a little, different styles there. That'll be good. Other side of the bracket, the online list region, Train with Hey Soul Sister will be taking on Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue by Toby Keith. All of these matchups so far sound really good. And then the March Badness bracket, coming out of there is either going to be If You Were in Love by Boston or American Reckoning by Bon Jovi. And that is one I don't want to have to be the deciding vote on.
That's a classic blue blood. That's like Kentucky versus UNC or something. That'll be a good one.
As we narrow the field, we get a higher and higher concentration of crap. So it's getting really bad here. Be sure to place your vote. Every vote counts. So head over to the website, links in the video description. Before you leave, though, and do that, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Find all the links to our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.